We're pretty sure these demonstrators would rather be somewhere else on a Friday night, but they are determined. Here they are for a 9th day, out in the heat, marching against injustice and hate, and their message is potent. Unless the people in power decide to do something with it, we'll be right back here again in a few months.
And the issue is what should be done about it. You can't just snap your fingers and end racism. Colorado lawmakers will try to find a balance between allowing police to do their jobs and holding them accountable. Denver 7's Meghan Lopez tonight takes us 360.
Together they march.
No justice, no peace.
Together they chant. Together they call for the type of change they say is long overdue.
I have been talking to my colleagues about passing meaningful policy reform so that no law enforcement officer gets off with killing one of us again.
With so much at stake, Colorado lawmakers are now trying to offer meaningful law enforcement reforms. In this 360, you'll hear from 10 people weighing in on the merits of the new police accountability bill and its effects. All of them agree change is needed, but they disagree on how it looks. Senate Bill 217 is comprehensive. It addresses everything from banning chokeholds to requiring body cameras to data collection, the fleeing felon rule, whether a police officer can be sued, and more. The bill's Democratic co-sponsors say they believe most officers want to do right.
There are many officers who are good people who are in the profession for the right reasons.
But
if a law enforcement officer acts criminally, they should be held to criminal standards.
For them, the end goal is clear.
We want to be sure that we are helping build the trust between law enforcement and communities.
Republicans felt left out of the discussion from day one.
The first thing that comes to mind is, wow, this is a lot at once.
They say they want to help.
We are willing to be part of that change.
But worry about how to make it all happen.
There's a lot in the bill right now about data collection. But the question becomes, how do we collect the data? How do we aggregate the data?
My name is NATALIA Marshall.
At the bill's unveiling,
I'm Elijah McClain's mom.
One by one,
As Devon Bailey's girlfriend and the mother of his child,
families who have lost loved ones in Colorado spoke to the crowd.
I hate to say this, but I know exactly how George's family feels.
They're relieved this bill is finally becoming a reality. They only wish it had happened sooner.
I really feel like the officer's been paid to kill our family members. No one's held accountable. The suspensions are overturned.
Parts of the bill address things that have happened in Colorado, like when police fatally shot Devon Bailey while he tried to run away.
This law makes it very clear they are not permitted to shoot somebody in the back and execute them simply for running away.
But they believe this bill is only a first step.
This is a defining moment for our nation.
At its first committee hearing Thursday,
we oppose a number of things inside this bill.
A first big test for how this bill could realistically work. The law enforcement community has several major concerns with it, including the cost. And the introduced version only includes local law enforcement, not the state police.
That is outrageous. That makes it seem a lot less like a matter of principle and a lot more like a matter of politics.
They claim the state excluded its officers knowing they didn't have the money to pay for these changes.
Simply say it's going to go over to the small communities and the counties to figure this out. They don't have the funds.
So if it's a matter of true reform, they want all law enforcement included.
Let me start by saying this.
But District Attorney George Brockler says getting rid of the good faith defense, where an officer was trying to follow the rules but did something wrong, is problematic. The bill would allow those officers to be sued and would ban them from buying insurance to protect themselves.
Even if you try to do the right thing and you do it the way you're trained and at the time you think it's lawful, if you guess wrong, that's it, man. You lose your house.
There are also things law enforcement wants to see added.
We're recommending to the legislature a provision which would require intervention, mandatory intervention, if at all possible, when unreasonable force is observed.
So that the officers, like the ones in the case of George Floyd, must stop someone from using excessive force. More than anything, they say they just want time to debate every aspect of this bill to get it right.
There's probably 2 years worth of work in this bill that take normally 2 sessions that we're told is going to happen in 2 weeks.
Day after day, together a community calls for change. The challenge won't go away, even when the protesters do. It's a task that's so big, the only way to solve it is together. Meghan Lopez, Denver 7.